Is building a business around your passion a great idea or a terrible idea? That all depends if you've got a business plan and a proper strategy in place. Hi, it's Mark from Monster Workshop, and today I wanted to share with you a bit of my personal story of my entrepreneurial journey, my journey from crashing and burning and rising up out of the ashes and actually building something viable. It's a personal story, and I hope that it'll serve as some sort of motivation to let you guys know that the end isn't really the end. So without further ado, let me get started. So when I was a young kid growing up, I always had an obsession with all things monsters and villains. I remember going to the VHS video store back in the day to rent movies, and I'd wander the aisles back and forth looking at all the different horror movies. I was always fascinated and perplexed by all the different movie covers, seeing Pinhead, Jason, Freddy, all the different horrific horror characters on the covers. And while they terrified me, at the same time, I was also super interested in wow, this looks so scary and crazy. I wonder if this movie is as nuts as it looks on the cover. I've always been obsessed with it, don't know how to explain it, always been drawn to that darker side of entertainment. So long story short, 24 years old, I decide, screw it. I don't know what I want to do with my life. I wasn't one of those people in high school that knew, I want to go to college and I want to go ahead and be a doctor or a lawyer, or, I want to go and be a tradesman. I want to go to trade school and be a machinist or a mechanic. I didn't ever have that vision. I never knew what I wanted to do. All I knew was that I wanted to do something for myself. I had to have a job that I was passionate about. I had to have a job that I loved. And I had to have it encompass all the things in life that I loved. I couldn't just do a 9 to 5 because I know me and I know I'd be miserable. So what I did instead was I worked meaningless jobs over the next 10 years, 7, 8 years from graduating, and bounced from job to job making minimum wage. Didn't really know my position or place in life. Still didn't know what I wanted to do. Was totally clueless. Finally one day I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to follow my passion. I'm going to open a store that sells horror movie stuff. I absolutely loved horror movie stuff. So I figured, how awesome would it be to sell stuff that I love and that I'm passionate about, be surrounded by people that are into all the same things as me, and build a community and a local following and a place where people that were into this stuff felt they felt like they fit in. They felt like there was finally a home for them. The weirdos, the outcasts, the freaks, the people that didn't fit into mainstream society. You're my people. I wanted you to come to the store, hang out with us, and feel safe, feel comfortable to be yourself. So that's what I did. I opened up my shop called Horror Monsters back in 2004, and it was heaven on earth. I started out in the flea market while I was working my full-time job. I didn't dive right in because I still had financial responsibilities, but I started working at the flea market. Every Saturday and Sunday, I'd set up my booth and I'd sell action figures, DVDs, posters, toys, all different stuff to do with horror movies, Friday the 13th stuff, Nightmare on Elm Street stuff, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all of my old favorite movies. And so I developed a big following right away of people that were into all the same stuff and they had no place to get it. So long story short, 6 months in, after working the flea market, spending every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, at the market selling my goods and then working my regular 9 to 5 full-time job through the week, I'd finally earned enough business and a big enough client base to move my side hustle to a full-time gig. So I took the leap. I opened up my store, Horror Monsters, and I ran it full-time. Suffice to say, I learned a lot of hard lessons along the way. One of the most hard lessons I learned immediately was that entire client base and that entire group of customers that I'd built working so hard over the last 6 months in the flea market, none of them followed me. In fact, some of them even came to my store and they were so bitter and angry at the fact that I was jumping in and doing my own thing. They even told me, I can't believe you've left the market. I hope your store fails. You're not going to survive a year. You think you're too good for the market and too good for us now? I'll never have anybody I know shop here. I was completely blown away. I couldn't believe that people were so jealous and mean-spirited and really wanted me to fail for pursuing my passion. But yes, long story short, that was the short and skinny of it. All those people from the market, I think maybe 2 or 3 of them followed me and became loyal customers at the store. So I had to start from scratch, building up my business, getting new customers. Now, I didn't have a lot of money, didn't have a large budget set aside for running my business. I naively assumed if it's something I love and it's something I'm passionate about, other people will love it too. They'll follow me to the ends of the earth. They'll buy stuff. They'll support me. They'll go to my shop instead of Walmart, HMV, places like that because it's me. It's a private business. I'm local. It's a specialty store. People want to keep that alive. Wrong. Most of the time, people don't care about anything but the price. As I've learned, the bottom line is the most important part. What can you do for me, and can I get it cheaper anywhere else? While there was a lot of good experiences from the store and having a lot of good customers that I developed lifetime relationships and friends with, I also learned that in order to stay competitive, you really need to serve your audience. You need to continuously give them what they're asking for, and you need to do it at a very competitive price, either at a competitive price or to be a very specific service that they can't get anywhere else. And when you're buying a DVD that you can get at Walmart, or you're buying a DVD from me, Saw is $17 at Walmart, Saw is $17 my cost from the distributor. I'm not going to sell you Saw for $17, obviously. I'll close the doors. So that was the challenge of the business, was competing with big box stores at a competitive price point, but also offering people the cool experience of being able to come into my shop. Suffice to say, 3 months in of selling t-shirts, DVDs, action figures, posters, I even got into Halloween masks. After the 3 years, it just wasn't enough. I didn't have any advertising budget. I was only running a small ad in a newspaper, and I just couldn't draw enough people in. I purposely put the store in a really low-income part of town because the rent and the overhead was really low, and I was told that the business was going to be booming in that area because it was under a revitalization project. That never happened either, and so I had no walk-through traffic. I had no built-in traffic as, say, a store would in a shopping mall. The rent was low, but the traffic to my store was low, and as with anything in life, whether it's a business that's a brick-and-mortar store or a website, if you don't have an audience and you don't have traffic, you don't have a business. And so after the 3 years of getting maybe 2 to 5, maybe 10 on a really good day, people in the store, there just wasn't enough money to keep the doors open. So after 3 years, the business crashed and burned. I shut down my passion, heartbroken, and I walked away from the store with $60,000 in debt, no job, back to square one with no prospects. What was I going to do? Find out in the next video when I talk to you about building back my life and getting the debt and everything else taken care of and finding what really mattered to me and what the passion was in round 2 of my entrepreneur journey. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.